Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, myself Chirag. In this video, I am going to discuss about working of DNS, explain with animation. Topic of computer network. Let's start with introduction of DNS. DNS stands for Domain Name System. Next, what is domain name? Domain or domain name is the location of website. We all know that the web pages of particular website is stored into the web server, and web server is located into the particular domain. So domain or domain name is the location of website. Next, what is DNS? So before discuss about the DNS, I will give you one non-technical example to understand the DNS. We all know about telephone directory. Using the telephone directory, we can find the number from the name and name from the number. So now we can say the DNS is the directory of internet. Using the DNS, connecting the web browsers with web servers. It means user can access the website from the web servers through the DNS. So how can user access the website from the web server using the DNS? So I will discuss this topic in the working of DNS. Next, purpose of DNS. So before discuss about the purpose of DNS, let's take one non-technical example to understand the purpose of DNS. If someone asking to you to remember the 50% mobile number instead of their name. But we all know that human brain can store the limited numbers. But instead of numbers, we can remember the as many as person name. So as we know that we are stored the number with particular person name. So on the same way, someone asks you to open the Google and Facebook using the IP address. So our brain can remember the limited number of IP address. So we are accessing all the website using the website name instead of IP address, because human brain can remember the maximum website names instead of IP address. So the purpose of DNS is mapping IP address to the naming and naming to the IP address. So it is the same as telephone directory. Next, DNS uses port number 53. So the process of DNS using the port number 53 with UDP protocol and with TCP protocol. But in the working of DNS, UDP protocol is the default protocol, because in DNS, immediate response is required to the user. So UDP is faster in compared to TCP. So UDP is the default protocol of DNS. So here there are two questions in my mind. The first question is, why does DNS use UDP instead of TCP? The another question is, in which case DNS uses the TCP instead of UDP? So write your answers in the comment section. Next, working of DNS. Let us take one example to understand the working of DNS. There is one user. User want to access a website www.eduresources1.com. So first of all, user enters the URL into the web browser. Web browser sends this URL to the DNS resolver. The purpose of DNS resolver is mapping website name to IP address and IP address to website name. Now DNS resolver sends this URL to the root server. Root server is connected with three main domains: generic domain, country domain and inverse domain. So here we all know that the purpose of inverse domain is mapping IP address to the domain name. But in this example, DNS resolver sent the website name to the DNS root server. So here root server will not contact to the inverse domain. So root server has two options: generic domain and country domain. So here in our example, the top level domain is .com. So here .com is 3-character domain name. It means root server will contact to the generic domain, because top level domain .com is belongs to the generic domain. So now DNS root server pass this URL to the top level domain .com. Now top level domain check the second level domain. Here our second level domain is eduresources1. For example, our second level domain is registered to the google.com server. So top level domain pass this URL to the second level domain Google name server. So now Google name server check this URL and find the corresponding IP address of that registered website and pass this IP address to the DNS resolver. And DNS resolver will pass this IP address to the user's web browser. So now user's browser search this IP address on the internet and connect to the web server eduresources1.com, and then web server eduresources1.com accept that request from the user's browser. Now web server send user's requested page to the user's browser, and that requested page is displayed in the user's browser. So that is the working of DNS. If you have any query regarding the working of DNS, you can ask me in comment section. If you like this video,